Well, hello, and welcome to Thingamajigs and another exciting history of a mundane thing. I am Ben.
And I'm Danielle.
And we sound awful.
Yeah, since you last listened to us, we caught a cold, and now we sound like this, which we sound much better. We did wait as long as possible before recording this, so that our voices could get a little bit less rough. But here we are. This is what you get. I like to think that I sound a little sexier.
Not me. I always sound very sexy.
You do. You have a great voice. I've got that Bonnie Tyler thing going on right now.
Who's that?
She's the lady that sang Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Right. On a boat during an eclipse.
Right.
With Joe Jonas?
Yes.
Listen to the episode on eclipses for that story.
So, between having a sore throat and summer being nearly here, pretty much here, especially if you're in the South, I decided to look into the history of ice cream. Everybody loves ice cream. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people like ice cream.
I scream. You scream. I think we all scream for ice cream.
Unfortunately, it is kind of murky. There isn't a defined inventor or place it was invented. Ice cream is a victim of not only simultaneous invention, but it's also steeped in legend. Not even good legend, just like everybody decided to claim the invention of ice cream. There are some people who argue that China invented it, but also Italy and ancient Persia is on the list, so maybe don't get too bogged down with the exact origins. Most people seem to give the credit, or at least agreed, that it's most likely the Chinese who invented ice cream during the Tang Dynasty, which would be anywhere from 618 to 907 AD. And they made it from milk, rice, and snow. There would be like these teams of people who would go way up into the mountains and collect the snow and then bring it down to ice houses. I say teams of people, they were probably slaves. I don't think they volunteered for this job.
I think it'd be fun. I'd volunteer.
Ice houses have probably been around longer than you would expect. They came from Mesopotamia in 1780 BC. Greece was also on that snow, honey, fruit train. It was a good mix, and I don't think it took a lot to look at those ingredients and think to yourself, that would be good together. I'm hot, and I like cold strawberries, or whatever fruit I have, because I'm living in BC times. I think they had different fruit from what we would expect.
They had weird bananas.
Because of the legend and origin issues I mentioned before, I'm going to tell you these stories in no particular order of importance. I'll try to tell them chronologically, but I'll do my best. And while I tell these stories, keep in mind that most of them are not true in the sense that it happened exactly as the story says. As most things, there are probably some true pieces to it. Alexander the Great reigned from 336 to 323 BC.
I know him.
He was great.
He was all right.
He said he was great. He was known to enjoy a mixture of snow, honey, and nectar. More of a snowball, but I think it counts, especially for the time.
For more on snowballs, what episode was that? Listen to whatever episode we talked about snowballs. Who knows, man?
Emperor Nero, who ruled from 54 to 68 AD, he also had a team of guys he would send up the mountain to gather snow. He liked to add fruits and juices to it, again, more like a snow cone. Notice all of these dates are older than when China is credited with inventing it, and I guess that's because that's when China added the milk and rice to make it more of a creamy treat. Ice cream really isn't ice cream without the cream part. Ice and fruit or honey is nice, but that milk really adds a richness.
Should have used butter. That'd really knock it up a notch.
At the end, we're going to go over some crazy ice cream recipes. Butter is one of them.
You ever had the butter pecan ice cream?
Yeah, it's very rich.
That's good stuff.
I think that might be my parents' or my dad's favorite ice cream.
It's probably my dad's favorite, too.
In the 13th century, it's said that Marco Polo brought a sherbet like recipe to Italy from his travels in China, supposedly introducing Europe to ice cream, but Catherine de' Medici also supposedly introduced Europe to ice cream when she went to France to marry Duc d'Orléans in 1533. She's also a pretty recurring character, if you remember from Cutlery episode. She also brought forks to France around the same time. She was an Italian woman, so I guess it's possible that she had the dessert from Marco Polo bringing it to Italy, but Marco Polo doesn't mention it in any of his writings. Again, I say the history of ice cream is incredibly mysterious. Maybe aliens gave us the recipe when they helped us build the Great Pyramids. Like, here you go, this is the blueprints for those pyramids you needed help with, but I've also got this great dessert you might like. I slipped the recipe between the pyramid and Sphinx schematics. You're gonna need some cold and delicious after all that work.
What if, hear me out, the pyramids are actually just giant ice cream machines?
I think that ice cream will have gone bad by now, if no one realized how to get the ice cream out of the pyramids.
That's why they're so mysterious now, because we haven't figured out how to make the ice cream come out.
Does it come out of the top? Like a geyser?
No, I imagine it has to be somewhere in the bottom.
Right, so there'd be like a tap in the bottom.
It'd be cold, yeah. You have to maybe you push the tip down and then ice cream squirts out the sides. Has anybody tried it? Probably not.
Charles I of England also likes to think he kept the original recipe a state secret because he had a French chef who made this all-new frozen dessert, and he paid that chef a yearly pension to only make it for his royal table and not share the recipe. Now, I don't know how much of any of that is true, but I know that Charles I was executed during the English Civil War, and ice cream is well known throughout the land. I know those two things to be undoubtedly true. Let your imagination run wild.
So we only have ice cream because he was executed?
No, I'm just saying.
We killed him for the ice cream recipe.
Amongst a long list of other things, but yeah.
That's the real reason he was executed. Fun fact, the whole revolution was about ice cream. You want to get some ice cream after this?
Yeah, I really do. It probably won't help us out, though, because I don't know if this is scientifically proven, but we have a lot of mucus going on in our lives right now, and dairy products, I find, make that worse.
Additionally, sugar is not good for the immune system. I wouldn't suggest having ice cream as much as you want it when you're sick. It's probably not a good idea. It
really soothes a sore throat.
I don't think it does. Cold stuff. Ugh.
You gotta eat enough of it until your throat numbs. So keeping ice cream recipes secret was kind of true because rich people were willing to pay through the nose to get this dessert. And if you knew how to do it, you had yourself a winning lottery ticket. I mean, that's a job for life. It took until 1718 for the first ice cream recipe to be written in English.
Wow.
It was very coveted. The Italians kind of kept that on lockdown. And if you were an American, good Lord, it would be nearly another 100 years before you got any ice cream. Maybe that's why the U.S. is such a leader in the world now, because how many times have we said how long it took for anything new and interesting to get to us? We finally had enough and started innovating instead of waiting for whatever Europe's doing to make it here. So even these stories are probably legend. What we do know is that many cultures had iced desserts that featured snow and something sweet, and that China is probably where it started, like everything else. And their recipe was a little odd. They heated milk, whether it was from a cow or a buffalo or a goat, and then they let it ferment so that it would become more of a yogurt, and then they added flour to thicken it, but then they also added camphor, which is like a specific tree native to some Asian countries, and you can scrape the camphor from the trunk, and they use that in their ice cream. Do you know what camphor is?
No.
So apparently we still use camphor under very strict guidelines because it's kind of dangerous. I came across this WebMD page because I had to look up what camphor is. And it had all these bullet points about don't put camphor in a humidifier. Don't attach it to your children. Children should not come in contact with camphor. It may cause seizures and death.
What?
Do not ingest camphor. You could die. Do you know what is in Vicks Vapor Rub?
Is it camphor?
Camphor.
Why? What does it do?
Because the FDA has approved it under certain percentages, but yeah, this was a weird thing I learned since, China put it in their ice cream. There was this guy, I didn't know him personally, but I worked with someone who was like their grandpa or somebody, and he would take Vicks Vapor Rub whenever he was sick, and he would spread it on a cracker, and he would eat it.
There's no good reason to do that.
But yeah, it's approved for topical use. Again, at a certain percentage.
Is it the thing that, opens up your...
So, Vicks is, camphor, eucalyptus oil, menthol, some other ingredients, and all of that together. I don't know if it's specifically the camphor or the menthol that opens up your passages to help you breathe better, but camphor is kind of like a pine smell.
Okay. But don't eat it.
Don't eat it. And I'm pretty sure the percentage of camphor that's in Vicks is 4%. There are strict guidelines for how much can be in Vapor Rub. But China, yeah, they put it in their ice cream. Weird Vicks Vapor Rub ice cream. Probably tasted like a pine tree.
I'm cool with that. Ever had pine nuts before? They taste like a pine tree, and they're all right.
I am a big fan of martinis made with gin. And a lot of people say that gin tastes like Christmas trees.
It's pretty piney.
So I would like this. I mean, I wouldn't eat it because you're not supposed to eat camphor, but I'm not opposed to pine flavors. So let's get back to ice cream. They added the flour to help thicken it, and then they would pour that mixture into metal tubes or small metal pots and place them in the ice so it would get really cold. Funny thing about milk. Its freezing point is lower than water, so this posed a problem when they were trying to freeze this stuff with ice in the summer. It would never get cold enough, but we thought of a solution for that. And really, it's quite brilliant, and the only reason we had ice cream in the 16th century. When you mix ice and salt, it gets crazy cold, like -5 degrees, because it lowers the freezing point of water. Do we know who discovered this? Well, it's ice cream related, so no, we don't. Probably China. And then we needed something to put this in. Well, you're going to have to wait a while for that, like a long, long time. We didn't get our first ice cream machine, invented by a woman, by the way, Nancy Johnson, until 1843.
God bless Nancy Johnson.
And it was just a wooden bucket with a metal container and a crank. I feel like we didn't have to wait 300 years for this. It's not like we were waiting for any of these things to be invented. We had wooden buckets, we had metal pots. They were probably lead, but we had them. And I'm pretty sure we knew how cranks worked. I just want to know what the heck we were doing while we should have been inventing the ice cream machine.
Probably killing people.
I was about to say that. Probably war. And let's be honest, we got this machine and it brought the ice cream being just for the elite to an end, and I can't imagine they loved us regular people getting our peasant hands on something delectable like that. No, actually, it was probably because it took that long for ice to be more available to people. I mean, they had to harvest this stuff and ship it, and we certainly weren't buying it already made. That would have been really expensive. At this time, if you wanted ice cream, you had to have an ice plug, and you had to make it yourself. That made it sound like there weren't any shops. There were. The first one opened in 1686 in France. Can you believe, by an Italian man? So there were some shops that sold it, but for the most part, it didn't become an easy thing to just pick up until 1926, when the continuous freezer was invented. And then, of course, we've got ice cream being produced at an industrial scale. More brands are coming out, which is creating competition, making ice cream continuously more affordable. Which is funny because we don't seem to be doing anything or inventing anything else that makes things cheaper. we've hit like this wall, and now it's all going up. When are we going to invent something that makes things cheaper again?
Solid state drive prices are still going down a little bit.
That's good.
All of our innovation is in technology now.
There were some fun things, though, that happened before ice cream became the thing in everyone's freezer. Most notably, the summer of 1790, when George Washington spent $200 for ice cream over that summer, which is like $7,000 today. That's not even a lot of ice cream. It just was so expensive. Before ice cream cones, there were these shallow glass dishes that would be filled with ice cream, and the idea was that it would be easy to lick the ice cream and the dish clean. Now remember, this is before ice cream cones, so this is what they had. The problem was they weren't actually cleaning the dishes after every customer, so they would have this giant pail of water, and then they would rinse the dishes in increasingly dirty water. I like to think they at least emptied their bucket and added fresh water, but considering it was shut down in 1926 for public health reasons, I can't imagine.
Health standards weren't even very high in 1926.
Yeah, well, they had like 4 ice cream dishes, and they only served, this is not true, they only served like 4 at a time, and then you just kind of wiped it out and put more in there for the next person to lick out.
It's pretty bad.
It was called a hokey pokey, which is thought to be a corruption of the Italian word, or the Italian phrase, try a little. The glass dish did have a good run, though. I mean, it took a long time before they shut it down. They were still going even after we got the ice cream cone. The ice cream cone debuted in 1904 at the World Fair with, I think it was Dr. Pepper. I'm pretty sure they went to the World Fair at the same time, along with the hamburger bun.
What a time to be alive. This is the golden era. Dr. Pepper, ice cream, and hamburger buns.
Speaking of soda, the people that served the sodas were called soda jerks. We forgot to add that to the last episode, but the soda jerks invented the ice cream soda, and it was thought to be too decadent and sinful to consume on Sundays, so they invented the ice cream sundae that was made especially for Sundays by just taking the carbonated sugar water out and just making a vanilla sundae.
So that's where ice cream sundae comes from, huh?
Some religious people are weird. I don't think God cares that much which day of the week you consume ice cream sodas. Like, the soda was the rich part of that drink. It should have been just soda on Sundays and no ice cream. Yeah, it was originally spelt like the day of the week, but they eventually changed the spelling of ice cream sundae so that it wouldn't be, like, religiously connected. We used to go get ice cream sundaes from Sonic after church when I was little, because it was called an ice cream sundae, and I enjoyed that a lot. I could go for an ice cream sundae. Hey, it's Sunday!
Go to Sonic, get ice cream sundae?
Totally. So during World War II, the military went through this period where they were trying to outdo the other branches in their ice cream serving abilities, which led to the first floating ice cream parlor. It was built for sailors, if you didn't catch that. This behavior, though, kind of made the rest of the world view ice cream as a very American thing, which led Mussolini to ban it in Italy.
That's kind of ironic.
It was just too American, which is crazy because, as we know, ice cream is a very Italian thing. Yes, China invented ice cream, but I feel like it was very much an Italian thing. They had all the good recipes. But yeah, they saw us loving it more than them and let all of that history go out the window. There was a time when ice cream molds were very popular, and there were a ton of ice cream animals and fruits, and even like Uncle Sam molds. It was supposedly a fun practical joke to make an ice cream fruit mold and make the person you were serving it to think it was actually that thing, but then surprise, it's ice cream.
How would that work? Ice cream does not look like many things.
I don't know, man.
Do you like spray paint the ice cream?
It was ye olden times. There was not a lot of entertainment.
It's like their thing of, is it cake?
Yeah, I thought about that. George Washington had some ice cream molds because he loved ice cream so much. I don't know if he pranked anyone, though. I feel like he would have taken ice cream too seriously to use it as a joke. Also, I feel like this is a little late to mention, but we haven't talked about salt. I'm pretty sure salt was expensive in ye olden times. I wonder how that played out with ice cream. Like, what's more expensive, the ice or the salt? So just a shout out to the oldest ice cream company still on the market since 1861, and supposedly still owned by the same family, Bassett's Ice Cream. I've never had their ice cream, but that's a long time to never sell out to a bigger company. How many times did Pepsi sell out?
It's pretty good. It's a good run.
So I've got a list of weird ice creams. I don't know that these flavors are still available because I think some of them were limited time editions, but when you hear the list, I don't think you'll be that disappointed.
Lay it on me.
Foie gras.
Ugh.
Your reaction tells me that you know what that is.
I do.
So it's a French ice cream, and if you know what foie gras is, then you know that it's a French food and it's made of the liver of ducks or geese. So not sure how that one tastes, but I have my doubts.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one.
Everything bagel.
I'd eat that one.
I can see this one. So it's a cream cheese based ice cream with a savory strudel of everything bagel, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, and garlic onion bits. I really like everything bagels with cream cheese, so I might like this. It's a savory sweet ice cream. Beef tongue.
Nope. I'm gonna pass on that one.
I had a time looking for a description of this ice cream, but I did it. I found, I think it was a blog of this person who went to Japan and tried a bunch of weird ice creams, and it did indeed have beef tongue in it. They described it as a milky beef stew.
I don't even want a milky beef stew, let alone ice cream that tastes like a milky beef stew.
So because I found this blog that they made of all of these ice creams that they tried in Japan, I added more that he described. They also had tulip ice cream, which, as you know, is my favorite flower. So I was excited for that description, but I only got one sentence. He said, the tulip ice cream tasted as expected, like flower tea.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I wanted more. I wanted more description of that.
I mean, it can't be a strong flavor.
I want to consume tulip ice cream.
We'll get you some tulip ice cream.
They also tried cheese ice cream.
I'd eat it.
Where they compared it to the buttered popcorn jelly bean, but said the cheese flavor comes out more with each bite, and they were pleasantly surprised at how good it was. They also said they were more skeptical of the cheese ice cream than the beef tongue. So I don't know about this person, but I'm glad they wrote a blog so I could read it. Speaking of cheese ice cream, Kraft macaroni and cheese ice cream.
Pass.
This is a big nope from me because it's literally cream, milk, cane sugar, egg yolks, and Kraft cheese powder.
No.
Yeah, no. Brown bread ice cream. This one I think I can get behind because it's a caramelized brown bread, which I imagine is like spice cake and creamy milk. I think I would like that. Hopefully it's as sweet as I'm imagining.
Yeah, I'd go for that one.
I believe that one was Irish. Cotton candy Pop Rocks ice cream.
Smash.
It is, as you would assume, cotton candy ice cream and Pop Rocks. Not the weirdest idea, but I bet the explosion of Pop Rocks is a wild mouthfeel. Alright, I'm going to need you to keep an open mind for this next one. How wide can you open your mind?
8 inches.
I'm going to need a little wider for this next bad boy.
My skull can only expand so far.
Well, breast milk ice cream.
No. Is it made with breast milk?
Need I go on?
No. I've heard reviews of breast milk, and it does not taste very good. So
it's from London. It's called Baby Gaga. It's vanilla and lemon zest flavored, and it is supplied to you by as many as 15 women. And they go on to talk about how safe it is. These are quotes. Was screened in line with hospital/blood donor requirements. With another quote. It's pure, it's natural, it's organic, and it's free range.
Free range.
Free range.
Thank God they didn't put the women in cages and milk them. I would have a bigger problem with it in that case, so that's good. Good to know.
You always want ethically sourced breast milk. If it's good enough for our kids, it's good enough for our ice cream.
That sounds like a fallacy. No, I don't even like lemon, so...
Sprinkle some blueberries in there and I was all in.
This whole concept is disgusting. I mean, lemon? Anybody who has to talk about how safe and ethical and good it is, probably not starting on good ground, so...
Yeah, the FDA was not a big fan of that, what happened there.
Pass. That's a pass from me, sorry.
Vanilla.
So far, so good.
What's weird about that? Well, this particular vanilla ice cream is infused with the proteins that make jellyfish glow, so that every time you lick it, it lights up.
Pass.
No? You're passing on that?
I would like to watch someone else eat it, but I don't think I want glowing proteins in my body.
But I got that from Kids National Geographics. It's a big hit with the children.
Sure, I'm sure it is. It's a very cool concept.
Cheetos Flamin' Hot Ice Cream.
I'd try it.
It's a sweet cream base with crushed up Flamin' Hot Cheetos in it. It's very straightforward. I like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I like sweet and spicy stuff, so I'm going to give this a solid maybe. Ghost Peppermint Ice Cream. So it's a peppermint ice cream with a spicy ghost pepper kick, and we did try a ghost pepper ice cream from Baskin-Robbins, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a Halloween flavor, because ghost pepper. And I don't remember exactly. I know it was I remember that it was a vanilla base with like chocolate chips in it, and it had like red streaks in it. That was the ghost pepper bit. And it was very sweet, but like whenever you breathed out, you got that really spicy tone.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I like Baskin-Robbins. Baskin-Robbins is underrated. I feel like not enough people go to Baskin-Robbins anymore. What are y'all doing? You could be at a Baskin-Robbins right now eating a bunch of weird ice cream, and you're not? Idiots.
Lobster ice cream.
Smash.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
It's an ice cream out of Maine, so I guess if you're going to eat lobster ice cream, Maine would be your best bet.
Gotta get it from the professionals.
It's a butter-flavored ice cream with lobster chunks folded in.
It's got lobster chunks in it?
Yes.
I don't know. I
don't know how chunky. I don't know if it's like little lobster strips.
If it's smaller bits or like thin pieces, yes. If it's like chunks.
It did look like thin pieces. They described it as chunks, but whenever I saw the picture, it did look like thin pieces.
Okay. I'm still on board. I'd give it a go.
That's all I got. So if you enjoyed this list, the internet is full of weird ice cream. The world is in no short supply of odd, creamy confections. But that's all I gathered for you today. You know, I also feel like frozen yogurt is underrated as well.
I think frozen yogurt's overrated.
Do you?
I don't
know a lot of people that do frozen yogurt.
After all the froyo places opened, that was what took people away from Baskin-Robbins.
You know, that is true. There was this boom of froyo places, but I feel like that has died down now.
Yay, I get to pay more for less cream. But you do get to fill your bowl with M&Ms and crushed up Oreos.
I was about to say, do you actually pay more, though? Because you get to pay by the weight, so you just pay for whatever you put in your...
I'm pretty sure if you get a triple scoop waffle cone from Baskin-Robbins, you're getting way more for your money than if you get a bowl of ice cream from TCBY. But I don't know. We'll have to run some tests on that and get back to you.
Well, what I meant by underrated is I feel like a lot of people say that frozen yogurt is not as good as ice cream. And I really don't feel that way. I think that it's just as good as ice cream.
It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I would agree with that. So that's it?
Yep. Bring back ice cream molds. Why'd we stop molding ice cream? You should look up some pictures of ice cream molds. They look really hard. I don't know how they got their ice cream so hard.
You want to know why we got rid of ice cream molds? It was just another step standing between us and ice cream. Well, this has been Thingamajigs and another exciting history of a mundane thing. Tell us about your wild ice cream adventures. Had any crazy ice cream flavors?
Japan has green tea ice cream, which isn't that weird, but they also have red bean ice cream, which I did not look into, but I assume it tastes like red beans.
And that's pretty gross. Let us know in the comments on YouTube or the Q&A section on Spotify, or send us an email. Other than that, don't forget to grab a goose and don't eat camphor. It's not good. Thanks for listening.
Forgive me, but